Okay, Student Senate, if you'll go ahead and start finding your seats, please. I now call this meeting of the Kansas State University Student Governing Association Student Senate to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, with that, we'll move into first roll call with our secretary tonight, intern Maggie Bowen.
Al-Abdullah, Al-Madani, Beasley, Balina, Betancourt, Booz, Bowers, Brincy, Burke, Carlson, Carr, Clark, Clements, Coggeshall, Colasico, Cruz, Dowd, Frederick, Gallardo, Gilliland King, Gillespie, Glasscock, Hamlin, Hines, Huffman, Jonak, Kelly, Kerperin, Kidd, King, Koger, Kurzweil, Coleman, Lomshek, Lux, oh, my bad, Meinhardt, Oshner, Orzakowski, Pelton, Payton, Phillips, nope, Rivera, Rodriguez, Reichert, Schlichter, Smith, Snyder Ben, Snyder Blaine, Spellman, Wallace, Ward Kelly, Ward Shalin, Watkins, Whitmer, Zimmerman. All right. There are 37 senators present, 6 excused, and 16 absent.
Is there anyone's name who wasn't called or missed roll call? Sarah Pelton? Anyone else? All right, with that, we'll go ahead and move into first open period. Our first open period speaker this evening is Dean Debbie Mercer, Dean of the College of Education.
Okay, I heard cheers from a couple education majors, right? So this is the best time for a dean to come and visit with you. I'm not in trouble that I know of anyway, and good things are happening in the College of Education, and I appreciate the invitation of the education senators to come and visit with you for just a few minutes this evening. So my name is Debbie Mercer, and I was one of you. I was an undergraduate student at Kansas State University, and then I was a graduate student, and then I was a graduate student again. So my career path led me 4 times to a degree at Kansas State University. I'm not advocating for that, I'm just sharing my own path. And each time I needed to gain skills, add knowledge to my background, Kansas State University was there with the degree that I needed. And so I'm indebted to this institution. So it was an honor when I was invited to serve as the dean. And I take that responsibility very much to heart. So just by a quick show of hands, how many of you went to school in Kansas? Okay. Chances are extremely high that you had a teacher in your career that was prepared at Kansas State University. So we have teachers in all 105 counties in Kansas. Okay. That's pretty impressive, right? Teachers in all 50 states and teachers in 63 additional countries. So your College of Education is very large and is making an impact each and every day in classrooms in Kansas, across the United States, and around the world. And again, that's a responsibility to make a positive impact that we take very, very seriously. So we're coming off our largest philanthropic year this past year in the College of Education. So in our last capital campaign in 10 years, the College of Education raised a little over $3 million. $3 million, 10 years campaign. Last year, $4.3 million donors and friends gave to the College of Education. So my math people, I know I have a bunch of social studies people in here, astronomical increase in the number of dollars that our donors are providing to students to help them with their educational experience too. So the number one thing I ask for is scholarships for students. The second thing I ask for is scholarships for students. And guess what the third thing I ask for is? Scholarships for students, because that is our greatest pressure and our greatest area of need in the college. And so we went from providing just a little over $100,000 from the College of Education in undergraduate student scholarships to well over $500,000 the last 2 or 3 years. So again, a huge increase in the amount of funding we're able to provide right back to our students. So we have donors that believe in the impact and believe in the work that's taking place in the college. So phenomenal research is taking place that's changing what's happening in schools. So when you went to school, from 8 to 9, you might have had math, and then from 9 to 10, you might have had English language arts. Everything was bound by time and content. And Kansas schools are changing because we're saying that does not meet the needs of every student. And so we're in the process in Kansas of reimagining what K-12 education can look like, and it is very exciting. Things are happening like project-based learning, where you may be working simultaneously on social studies and English language arts. You may pair up history with the art program and the art teacher. So we're starting to visualize schools more like we work, and that's very exciting. So the students we're producing and putting out into schools have to not only know their content, but they also have to be creative and strategic thinkers. So I frequently say teaching is not for the intellectually weak, and teaching is not for the emotionally weak. It takes a great deal of grit and determination paired with outstanding content knowledge, and then the ability to build relationships, because that's what teaching is all about. Building relationships with students, doing our very best to provide their needs, and then using that relationship to connect them to the content that we hold dear. So we call ourselves EdCats in the College of Education, and that's our promise to our students, right? So E is for an exceptional experience. We have students going to Ireland, England, Mexico, and Ecuador this summer on study abroad trips. And it's very important to us to provide those opportunities, and again, to help provide scholarship dollars to make that travel possible. And then we also put students not once, but multiple times in classrooms with master teachers so they can be practicing what they're learning in beautiful Bluemont Hall. No Snickers, right? Oh, you've seen Bluemont Hall, right? It's not the prettiest building on campus, but we say the beauty is all inside, and that's opening minds, and that's the work we do. D stands for dedicated faculty, and you'll find a faculty that is so committed to our students and to modeling what they want future teachers to look like. So we tell our students, it does not end when you walk across the stage at Bramlage Coliseum and I shake your hand, but we want to be there each and every step. That may be for a graduate degree, but that may be, I have this student and I really need help and support, or I'm having trouble getting this concept across. And our faculty are right there to provide that ongoing support during the first few years of teaching. Our C stands for connected community. And that's very important. We have 13 organizations within the College of Education for undergraduate students, But it's also important that we're connecting students early with fellow teachers from across the state and nation. That network is important those first few years that are so difficult. Our A stands for Advocates for All, and the College of Education has a very broad definition of diversity, and it is our underlying foundation that everyone is treated with respect and that each person is treated individually so that their needs can be met. And there's a great deal of work going on in the college around issues of diversity and inclusion. So about 10% of our students are military connected, about a third are first-generation college students, and about 13% are students of color. And it's important to us to provide programming and scholarships to encourage all of our students. T stands for technology. And technology is important. It's changing how we teach, it's changing how we learn, it's changing what's happening in classrooms. And so one way that we make sure that all of our students have equal access to technology is as they begin their professional block courses, we check an iPad out to them that they can use during their professional sequence of block courses. And that's important so that everyone has that device. It's used in classes and they can use it to develop their own lessons for the students in which they'll work. And then our S is most important, and that's student-centered. We have about 1,500 students working on an initial license, meaning their first teaching license. About 1,300 of those students are undergraduate students and about 200 are graduate students. So the College of Ed has 2 of the top 10 majors at Kansas State University in elementary education and secondary education. So it's those 1,500 teachers that are going to be the future of education and making a difference in classrooms. So I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have about the college or what our vision is or where we're headed.
Any questions for Dean Mercer? President Penny.
Do you have to?
Undergraduate colleges that does not have an additional fee tacked on. How do you make that work as far as cost and affordability? And can you speak to that?
Absolutely. So like I said, scholarships are my number one area of emphasis as I talk to donors. And it's been very important to me to keep the fees that I have control over as affordable for students as I possibly can. And so I've held to no additional student fees, so I haven't had to come before you. And I'm not saying anything against colleges that have chosen to do that. We're each unique. We have unique needs, unique faculty. But philosophically, I don't want to be put in a position to do that. So I'm managing the resources that I do have. I'll say that the college is very innovative and very entrepreneurial. And as we move into an era with a new budget model, those are traits that are going to be more and more important. And we're building on the strengths that the college has in those areas. So we have niche programs that there are very few of across the nation, like in academic advising and community college leadership. And those programs can help balance out some of the programs where I might need some additional resources. So good financial management and a personal philosophy of absolute last resort, and I hope not under my watch do we have to talk about a fee for education students.
Any further questions? Chair Oxnard.
Absolutely. So it's there, right? Number one area of need, special education teachers. Number 2, elementary. Does that surprise you? Elementary. I didn't graduate that long ago, and my advisor here at Kansas State said, Debbie, take the first position that's offered to you because there'll be maybe 200 people that are applying for that position. So a huge shift there, followed by English language arts, math, and science. Those are our top 5 areas of need. So 3 years ago, we started a Master of Arts in Teaching program that leads to an elementary license. We started out with about 40 students with no advertising. We doubled. We're up to over 200 students in that program. So those are people that have a bachelor's degree in another field and through life circumstances or realization, they say teaching is what I want to do, and they have a master's degree option to come back. So there'll be an extra 200 teachers that are recommended for licensure from the college to address that. Our elementary program is now online. And so for students that can't be on campus Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9:30, they have the option to take our program online, again, with extensive field experiences, classroom opportunities, wherever they are geographically. So as the largest preparer, that responsibility weighs heavy on us, and we have been very active in making additional pathways to lead to a teaching license. Good question.
Any further questions for our speaker? All right, seeing none, thank you so much for
Thank
coming.
you.
We also have an additional first open period speaker, which is Kelly Ferris, Director of the Center for Student Involvement.
Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Yeah. One more day until break, and then you guys can go away, enjoy your time away from campus. All of us who work here can enjoy you going away for a little while. Just kidding. We will miss you all dearly while you're gone, but I wanted to give a quick update about would students be more likely to utilize? The first was asking about Uber or Lyft or some similar system.
Time.
And you can
Time for the speaker has expired. Is there a motion to extend? Senator Coker. It's been moved and seconded to extend time for the speaker by 7 minutes and 32 seconds. Are there any objections? All right, seeing none, 7 minutes, 32 seconds.
Thank you, Senator Koger. So again, here you can see safety is the number one reason why they would use Uber or Lyft instead of Safe Ride sponsored by Adibus. The other biggest things here were convenience. So a lot of responses in this question about it will pick me up where I say I'm at and it's going to drop me off where I say I need to go. It's more timely. There's no other sense of transportation, maybe where they're going. So they may be living in a part of town that Safe Ride
Any questions for our speaker? Senator Lumschick.
I think that will depend on what type of system the task force lands on. If it's an out-of-bus version, then yes, we'll probably heavily rely on the city to help support that. If it's Uber or Lyft or some other option that's out there, probably won't rely on the city for doing that. It'll rely more on the funds associated with the allocation from privilege fee for whatever that program looks like.
Further questions? Senator Snyder.
That's a good question. It's right in the heart of it. It's at the corner of Morrow and nope. One more. Yes, by Tanner. Should be right in that corner. The last I checked, the signage is not there, and that's a city thing. So, yeah.
Further questions? Senator Carr.
So our current budget for Safe Ride is $87,000. On average, we don't spend that full amount on operational costs of the buses currently. I think if I did a total over 10 years, we've averaged about $79,000 a year for the bus itself.
Further questions? Chair Oxner.
So that will actually be one of the things that this task force will look at. There's a number of universities across the country that are moving to Uber and Lyft, and the university is offsetting the costs associated with those rides. And so I've actually done a demo already with Uber, but that'll be something that task force will be tasked to look at is what are our options in that avenue.
Further questions? Senator Hines.
Over $10 per student currently, based on the number of riders per the last year. Yeah.
Thank you. Further questions? Senator Ward.
On the survey, did you guys mention that the Safe Ride is funded by the privilege fee that the students pay?
We did indeed. So at the very front of the survey, we listed out, here's what Safe Ride is. It's funded from this. Now answer these questions. Yeah.
Further questions? Chair Booz.
Yeah, can you elaborate a little more on the reasons for the major drop in around 2016 in Safe Ride?
Yeah, so that's a great question. There's actually a whole group of people that are looking at that, and I came from a meeting right before I met with Privilege Fee a couple of weeks ago that was specifically looking at what is this issue, and we're not really sure, right? So we can't pinpoint exactly. One, I would guess we have a decline in enrollment, but that obviously doesn't account for this drastic number. We also are hearing from law enforcement that that's also about the same time that they've seen a drop in citations and arrests for DUIs and other alcohol-related issues. And so that's kind of interesting. And what is that thing? I would also say, this is me just anecdotally, I would say it's also a shift in generation of student. So about that time is when we started seeing younger students, the new Gen X or Gen Z students start arriving, and you all, as part of that most of you, in that Gen Z generation, you just function a little bit differently than what previous students had. And so to me, I think there's some generational shift in there as well, and the expectation that we want something now and more technology based. So that would be my guess.
Any further questions? All right, seeing none, thanks so much for coming. All right, with that, we'll move on to, I guess President Penny has an open period.
So
All right, moving right along into approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes? Chair Booz. It's been moved and seconded to approve the minutes. Are there any objections? Seeing none, the minutes are approved. Announcements for the week. First, very topical. Safe Ride Review Task Force is seeking members to provide feedback on current Safe Ride operations. The links listed there. Second, an additional order for name tags will be placed tomorrow at 5 p.m. Fill out the form in the agenda. If you're interested in a $10 name tag, you must pay Nathan before your name tag is ordered. Third, as a member of SGA, you all qualify to order K-State Proud shirts early. They're $20 and the link to order is listed there. Proxies for the week are Bowers for Bond, Brincy for Cox, Cogshell for Seidel, Dowd for Jabin, Hines for Matos, Spellman for Clark, Watkins for Lux, and Whitmer for Pruce. 5 SGA members of the week are Caucus Leader Madeline Burke, Senator Cameron Coger, and Senator Bryson Meinhardt for being funding go-getters within their respective colleges. I got you. The quote of the week is, "Gratitude bestows reverence, allowing us to encounter everyday epiphanies, those transcendent moments of awe that change forever how we experience life in the world," by John Milton. Moving into commendations, is there a motion to consider Resolution 45? Senator Coger. It's been moved and seconded to consider Resolution 45. Will the author please come forward?
Resolution 19-2045, Commendation to Construction Management Competition Teams by Andrew Booz. Whereas on October 27th through October 30th, 2019, several student teams from the Kansas State University G.E. Johnson Department of Architectural Engineering and Construction Science participated in the Associated Schools of Construction Region 4 2019 Construction Management Competition in Nebraska City, Nebraska. Whereas KSU competed in the ASC R4 2019 CMC in 4 out of 5 total divisions, Commercial 2, Design Build, Heavy Civil, and Specialty. Whereas each division required the team involved to complete a request for qualifications, a request for proposal, and an oral presentation regarding a hypothetical construction project as if the team was a construction company. Whereas the Commercial 2, Design, Build, and Specialty teams placed third in their respective divisions, and whereas KSU was one of 4 universities whose teams placed in 2 or more divisions. Be it resolved that Section 1, Kansas State University Student Governing Association commends the members of the student teams who took part in the Associated Schools of Construction Region 4 2019 Construction Management Competition for their accomplishments at the competition. Section 2, which is very long, among passage by the Student Senate and signature of the Student Body President, a copy of this resolution shall be sent to Commercial Division 2 Coach Katie Laumiller, Assistant Professor of Architectural Engineering and Construction Science and Director of ASC Region 4. Commercial Division 2 team members Dawson Borcherding, I'm going to mess up so many names, Chance Braun, Tyler Collins, Jackson Riley, Alexis Sasunaga, and Sam Wohler. Design Build Division Coach Shannon Chase K. Spear, Assistant Professor of Architectural Engineering and Construction Science. Design Build Division team members Jordan Brunk, Randall Amy Nguyen, Eric Peterson, Dan Stodenmeyer, and Matt Vaught. Heavy Civil Division Coach Jim Goddard, Professor of Architectural Engineering and Construction Science. Heavy Civil Division team members Patrick Davidson, Sam Haynes, Evan Mills, Tim Munson, and Tyler Newfield. Specialty Division Coach Jong Chul Song, Associate Professor of Architectural Engineering and Construction Science. Specialty Division team members Madison Jarman, Christopher Junk, Sierra Purcell, Molly Scott, Sage Walta Moth, and Grant Wells. Interim Dean of the Carl R. Ice College of Engineering, Dr. Gary Clark, and University President Richard B. Myers.
Are there any questions or corrections for the author? All right, seeing none, is there a motion on this resolution? Intern Phillips. It's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 45 unanimously. Are there any objections? Seeing none, Resolution 45 is approved. is there a motion to consider Resolution 46? Senator Beasley. It's been moved and seconded to consider Resolution 46. Will the author please come forward?
All right. Resolution 19-2046, Commendation to Dr. T.G. Nagaraja by Madeline Burke. Whereas Dr. T.G. Nagaraja currently serves as a University Distinguished Professor of Microbiology in the Department of Diagnostic Medicine and Pathobiology in the College of Veterinary Medicine at Kansas State University. Whereas Dr. Nagaraja teaches classes for both first and second year students in the Doctor of Veterinary Medicine program, along with classes in rumen metabolism and microbiology for graduate students in animal sciences, microbiology, veterinary medicine, and agronomy. Whereas Dr. Nagaraja holds 8 U.S. patents and has authored dozens of research publications on topics including pre-harvest food safety, antimicrobial resistance, and hepatic abscesses in feedlot cattle. Whereas Dr. Nagaraja has taught at Kansas State University for over 40 years, thus playing a role in the educations of thousands of veterinarians. And whereas Dr. Nagaraja was named Distinguished Veterinary Microbiologist of the Year by the American College of Veterinary Microbiologists at their annual meeting in Chicago on November 4th, 2019. Be it resolved that Section 1, the Kansas State University Student Governing Association, KSU-SGA, commends Dr. T.G. Nagaraja for his commitment to veterinary graduate student learning and success. KSU-SGA recognizes the valuable contributions that Dr. Nagaraja has made to the veterinary field. KSU-SGA applauds Dr. Nagaraja for continually representing the university at the national level. Section 2. Upon passage by the Student Senate and signature of the student body president, a copy of this resolution shall be sent to Dr. T.G. Nagaraja, University Distinguished Professor of Microbiology, Dr. M.M. Changapa, University Distinguished Professor and Course Coordinator of DMP 812 Veterinary Bacteriology and Mycology, Dr. Derek Mosier, Department Head of the Department of Diagnostic Medicine and Pathobiology, Dr. Peggy Schmidt, Associate Dean for Academic Programs and Student Affairs in the College of Veterinary Medicine, Dr. Bonnie Rush, Dean of the College of Veterinary Medicine, and University President Richard B. Myers.
All right, I have the correction of Section 2. Are there any other questions or corrections for the author? All right, seeing none, is there a motion on this resolution? Senator Coker. Resolution. It's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 46 unanimously. Are there any objections? Right, seeing none, Resolution 46 is approved. Right, is there a motion to consider Resolution 47? Senator Snyder. It's been moved and seconded to consider Resolution 47. Will the author please come forward?
Also, ELF is a resolution, or does that need to be 48?
No,
Okay.
all the commendations go together.
Right. All right, so Resolution 19-2047, Commendation to Hack K-State by Andrew Roos. Whereas Hack K-State is a yearly hackathon hosted at Kansas State University, which brings high school and college students together to create unique and inventive software or hardware projects. Whereas Hack K-State is entirely student-run. Whereas Hack K-State 2019 was held in the College of Business Administration building from November 8th to November 10th, 2019. Whereas in 2019, Hack K-State had 270 participants from 11 universities and 20 high schools from 5 different states. Whereas this is a 36% increase from 2018, when Hack K-State had 198 participants. Whereas in 2019, Hack K-State had 64 projects demonstrated at the end of the hackathon. And whereas this is a 73% increase from 2018, when 37 projects were demonstrated. Be it resolved that Section 1, Kansas State University Student Governing Association commends Hack K-State for a successful, well-run event. Whereas, Section 2, upon passage by the Student Senate and signature of the Student Body President, a copy of this resolution shall be sent to Hack K-State President Nathan McLean and Hack K-State Public Relations Chair Reese Behrens for distribution to all members of Hack K-State and volunteers at Hack K-State 2019, Interim Dean of the Carl R. Rice College of Engineering, Dr. Gary Clark, and University President Richard B. Myers.
Are there any questions or corrections for the author? All right, seeing none, is there a motion on this resolution? Senator Beasley. It's been moved and seconded to approve Resolution 47 unanimously. Are there any objections? Seeing none, Resolution 47 is approved. Okay, with that, we'll move into committee reports. Are there any committee chairs that would like to give a report? Chair Booz.
Hey everyone, I'm up here again for my weekly segment on what we did in Senate Ops last Monday. And so, you know, as you can see, we put our new piece of legislation on the agenda regarding reporting requirements, in addition to the things that it addresses, which I talked about last week, which is, you know, carrying money from the primary to the general for presidential candidates. And one other thing that I was going to mention and can't quite remember, it also adds a couple of definitions and a couple of other things that would allow people in multi-winner elections, such as most senatorial elections or Board of Student Publications or Union Program Council, to file both of the required reports jointly. That would reduce the load on the Elections Commissioner quite a bit and allow people who are running together, you know, and don't have expenses that are different or campaign actions that are different to save time by not having to copy their expense report multiple times. And then like really, you know, that, and then we also polished up some other parts of our statutes, include like of the elections regulations, including, let's see, making sure that there is a limit on the number of registered campaign staff and that they are K-State students. So that's it for changes that we will make for this election season, which starts, I believe, in late January this year. And so really, we still do want to talk about elections though. And so next week on Monday, 8 p.m. CSI conference room, we're going to have Senate Operations Committee, and we're going to talk about kind of brainstorm some big things that we might want to address. I know that a lot of committee members, and myself included, want to discuss possibly moving to a ranked voting system for some of our elections. And so that's one of the things, but if you have other big changes that you might want to make to the elections regulations, please send them to the committee, to me, or come to the committee on Monday. So that's it. Thank you for your time.
Are there any questions for our speaker? All right, seeing none, further committee chair reports. Chair Watkins.
Hey, so yesterday, me and Jansen went and presented to, actually it was Tuesday, went and presented to the City Commission about a couple things that we kind of addressed as good takeaways and action steps following the Safe Housing Summit. One of those was pushing for the creation of a landlord-tenant council, which basically, and other universities have done stuff similar to this, but this would basically be a group of renters and a group of landlords, as well as like some people from SGA, some people from the city, and some people from the K-State administration that could come together and talk about rising issues and address some of the ongoing problems that we've had in Manhattan with rental properties. They like that idea, so that's going to continue to be in the works. It's going to fall under as an advisory council, which the city has probably somewhere in the range of like 15 to 25-ish of those, and they cover a variety of different topics. So they like that idea, so that's something that's going to continue to move forward, and I'll keep you guys updated on it. The other thing that we propose that they do is add an addendum to leases that talk about the rental inspection program, to where anybody can call and get a rental inspection. And they like that idea as well, so that's something they're going to continue to pursue. So yeah, I'll answer any questions.
Are there any questions for Chair Watkins? Senator Lumschick.
Yeah, so do you mean like off campus as a whole or like a Yeah, so the one that I'm most familiar with was at Marquette, and I visited Marquette this summer. And while we were having our conference, they were having a meeting at the same time, so I didn't get to sit in and hear exactly how that meeting went and what issues specifically they were addressing. The idea and why we like the idea of creating this is because people who are renters that would be, engaged enough to want to be on this council are going to be really passionate about it, and they know best what the issues are, and will have the strongest opinions on how to fix them. So the fact that it's an advisory council gives them the ability to put more pressure on the city commission to act on ideas and stuff that they have. So their program was directly through the university, whereas our program, if it passes and everything like that, gets through the city commission, would be through the city. So it'd look a little bit different.
Further questions? All right, seeing none, are there any further committee chair reports? All right, seeing none, are there any directors' reports? Intern Coordinator Colburn.
All right, we usually do our updates during second open period, but it's going to be a long night, so I don't know if I'm going to be here. But the intern program is going well. We are wrapping up. We just finished class 2, so phase 1, class 2. So that's our second round of the intern program for the year. It looks like we're going to have about 10 to 13, depending on how many end up applying, continue on with phase 2 from this second class of interns, bringing our total number up to, I didn't do this math beforehand, about 50, which is roughly where we were last year as well. So again, just keep in mind, if you didn't get a mentee this last time around, you'll likely get one this time around. And of course, we're starting class 3 of the intern program January 30th, I believe is that day. So that's that first Senate back. So continue plugging the intern program. It's not too late for people to join, whether they're freshmen, sophomores, juniors, even seniors. If people are interested in running, I would also recommend inviting them to the intern program. We're going to be talking about the legislative branch and the elections process right off the bat. So if you know anyone who's like kind of talked to you about maybe running for Senate, encourage them to just come to those few meetings so they're a little bit more educated and prepared when it comes to election season. Final update is that we're going to be celebrating all of our phase 2 interns, not next week, our next Senate meeting before our next Senate meeting. So you all will be invited to that winter intern party. So just look out for that. Also, one last thing, if you have not yet met with your mentee, if you are a mentor, we encourage you to do that before the semester ends. We know that it's crazy busy, but I'm sure there's some time during final week between finals where you can get together, meet, have coffee, just talk and chat, whether you're an intern who still needs to meet with your mentor or a mentor who needs to meet with their intern. Reach out with each other, be a connection, be a resource for each other. That relationship should go both ways, not just one asking for the other. So that's all I have. If you have any questions related to that, please let me know.
Senator Coker.
I'll talk to you about that afterwards.
All right, further questions? All right, seeing none, any further director's reports? President Penny.
Yeah, so if you have those papers and you took a second, if you'd start passing them back to this row, that would be awesome during the report. So I just have a couple things. One thing that Michael Rain, who works in IT at the College of Business, himself and people in IT are looking to work with some people from Cengage, McGraw-Hill, some of those large textbook companies to pretty much add a link in Canvas to buy your textbooks directly from them. This is something that is a little bit political because it would kind of be steering a lot of that traffic towards their companies, which we all know how much textbooks cost. And so they are looking at what that program would look like. On the IT side, it's something that is definitely doable very quickly, but they're mostly kind of looking at the other side on like open educational resources and what the student view is on that. So if that's something that you'd be interested in, please send me an email because they will start meeting the beginning of next semester. So that is a task force committee to get feedback on pretty much adding buttons alongside your Canvas courses that will link you directly to buy your textbooks online through that store. And then next, I was contacted by Stephen Johnson, who is a representative here in Kansas. I've interned for him before, but him and some people from K-State are looking for 5 interns for this next semester who are very interested in civil discourse. So what this would look like is throughout the legislative session, you would go to Topeka once or twice a week and do things like observe the legislature and then talk about what goes right and what doesn't and discuss ways to improve and really how K-State can improve their own communications with the Kansas legislature all around civic discourse. So if that's something that kind of piques your interest, please let me know about that too. And it would also be paid as well. So if you're looking for something to do, it's something to look good on a resume too, please send me an email and I'd love to get you connected. And then lastly, something that we've been talking about in emerging students, issues, and trends that was brought up today was as we have Dead Week and Finals Week coming up, the tendency for professors to push finals in front to even 2 weeks before Finals Week and especially Dead Week. This becomes an issue with the Access Center as students who need special accommodations have to start getting that days in advance. And when professors start moving things around, that is something that they are not supposed to do. We've spoken to Provost Tabor about this and really on the provost side, what can be done. So be on the lookout for different resources that we're really going to push so that if that does happen in any of your classes, I know I already have 2 finals scheduled on Dead Week that you can like report that and give some feedback on that. And we have confirmation from the provost that they would look into that. Obviously, it's not going to help for this semester, but it is something that us, along with working with Faculty Senate, really hope to kind of tackle down a little bit more, especially once it comes to like student academics and that academic health. That's all I have. Are there any questions?
Any questions for President Penny? All right, seeing none, we'll now move into approval of minor allocations. Is there a motion to approve the minor allocations? Senator Hines? It's been moved and seconded to approve the minor allocations. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, same sign. Right, motion carries. The minor allocations are approved. We'll next move into final action. Will the author of Bill 55 please come forward? No, 55. Right? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's 66. Senator Koger. Okay, it's been moved and seconded to bulk roll calls bill, and we figured out it's 56. That's my bad. 56 through 62. Are there any objections? All right, seeing none, bills 56 through 62 will be bulk roll called. Senator Carlson? The bills actually aren't read in final action, so. Have any changes been made?
No.
All right, first right to debate.
Okay, so this is the travel allocation to the American Society of Civil Engineers. So they'll be taking a group down to Detroit, Michigan. They're going to go to the American Society of Civil Engineers Student Leadership Workshop, and they're going to take a trip and tour some of the sites around there with different civil engineering opportunities. So it'll be a great opportunity for them. So we allocated them $400 because they're taking 4 students.
All right, are there any questions? All right, seeing none, is there any debate in the negative? Any debate at all? All right, seeing none, Bill 57, have any changes been made?
No.
All right, first right to debate.
Okay, this is the travel allocation to the Associated General Contractors. So they'll be taking 18 students down to Texas to build houses for Habitat for Humanity. So most of these people are in the, they're doing architectural engineering, so they get the opportunity to have real world experience in what they're learning in the classroom. So we allocated them $1,000.
All right, are there any questions? Is there any debate in the negative? Any debate at all? All right, seeing none, Bill 58, have any changes been made?
No.
You have first right to debate.
All right, so this is the trial allocation to Bakery Science Club. So they'll be sending 30 students down to the American Society of Bakers annual conference. So they'll get a look at emerging areas in the bakery and food science industry, get to meet some professionals as well as some K-State alumni, and they'll basically get to look at what their possible jobs could be like in the future. So we allocate them $1,000.
All right, are there any questions? Any debate? All right, Bill 59, have any changes been made?
Nope.
First right to debate.
All right, so this is the travel allocation to Blue Key Senior Honor Society. So they'll be sending 15 students to the Blue Key National Conference. So they'll basically be looking at ways to improve their own things they do on campus. So they operate programs like Catalyst, Quest, and different things for a lot of freshman students. And so they'll be looking at how other chapters do similar programs and be able to reevaluate the programs they offer students now. So we allocated them $1,000 for that.
All right, any debate? All right, seeing none, Bill 60, have any changes been made?
No.
First right to debate.
Okay, so this is the travel allocation to the Catholic Student Organization. So they'll be sending 55 students down to the SLS conference in Phoenix, Arizona. So they'll be getting to learn from a lot of leaders in a lot of respective fields. They'll get to be looking at a lot of workshops with basically how social media affects the world we live in now, as well as looking into like different ways to include diversity and inclusion at K-State. So they are taking 55 students, so we allocated the maximum that we could, which is $1,000.
All right, is there any debate? Right, seeing none. Bill 61, which should be Interfraternity Council, but I don't think you have a printed copy.
Okay, cool. Cool. Got it.
Have any changes been made?
No.
All right, first right to debate.
All right, so this is the travel allocation to the Interfraternity Council. So they'll be sending 9 of their members to the Association of Fraternal Leadership Values Conference. So basically, they'll be covering topics such as like hazing prevention, as well as like diversity inclusion in fraternities, and also looking at effective leadership strategies to make them really effective on campus. So they're sending 9 people, so we allocated them $900.
All right, is there any debate? Right, seeing none, Bill 62, have any changes been made?
No.
First right to debate.
All right, so this is the travel allocation to Pre-Dental Club. So they'll be sending 30 of their students to the Kansas Missions Immersity event. So basically that event offers free dental care to anyone who shows up. So basically it'll give students the opportunity to look at their future careers and actually become like a dental hygienist for a day. So we allocated them $1,000 to do that.
All right, is there any further debate? All right, seeing none, I will proceed to a bulk roll call on all the bills in final action. Reminder, you all know the drill by now, but yes to all, select out no for which bill or an abstention for which bill that is if you are not voting yes.
Al Abdullah? Al Madani? Beasley? Belina? Betancourt? Bond? Booz? Bowers? Brinsey? Burke? Carlson? Carr? Clark? Clements? Coggeshall? Colasico? Cruz? Dowd? Frederick? Gallardo? Gilliland King? Gillespie? Glasscock? Hamlin? Hines? Huffman? Jabin? Jonak? Kelly? Kerperin? Kidd? King? Koger? Kurzweil? Coleman? Lomshek? Lux? Matos? Meinhardt? Oshner? Orzakowski? Pelton? Peyton? Phillips? Pruse? Rivera? Rodriguez? Reichert? Seidel? Schlichter? Smith? Snyder Ben? Snyder Blaine? Spellman? Wallace? Ward Kelly? Ward Chalin? Watkins? Whitmer? Zimmerman? Okay, and then back to Rivera.
Yeah.
Okay. Back to Rivera.
Watkins, confirming your proxy vote for Lux.
All right. Sorry.
All right, Bill 55 passes 48 to 0 to 1. And then Bill 61 passes 48 to 1 to 0, and the rest passed unanimously 49 to 0 to 0. Are there any questions on that?
Thank you all for your patience with me.
All right, we'll move on to minor allocations. Is there a motion to consider the minor allocations? Senator Koger. We do not read minor allocations in introduction. Okay. Bill 62, on-campus allocation to gender collective requested $125, recommended $125. Bill 63, on-campus allocation to gender collective, also requested $125, was recommended $125. Those are separate allocations because they're occurring for two events on different days, just to clarify. Bill 64, on-campus allocation to the Veterinary Medicine Surgery Club, requested $500, recommended $500. Moving into introduction of legislation, is there a motion to consider Bill 65? Intern Phillips. It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 65. Will the author please come forward? Now would be that motion to summarize. Senator Beasley. It's been moved and seconded to allow the author to summarize. Are there any objections? Seeing none, you may summarize.
All right, I had to grab my laptop because it's still, the strike-throughs are not there in the version right here. So I will pull it up. All right, so this is, the amendments to the Kansas State University Student Governing Association statutes concerning reporting requirements. This was polished by Senate Operations Committee over the past 3 weeks-ish. And so I'll just kind of paraphrase the whereas clauses and then walk through the rest of the document. So first, just remarks that, SGA elections have often been controversial, and the Student Senate in both last term and this term has passed resolutions that will call for elections reform. And so this is just Senate Operations Committee carrying that out. And then during the 2019 elections, expense reporting requirements were consistently a source of tension and controversy. And so, first we made sure that registered campaign staff would be reported on the campaign action report and won't be expensed. That's for presidential and VP tickets. We also changed expense limits to allow presidential campaigns to bring money into the general election from the primary should they win it. So the requirement is they can only spend up to $300, or they can only give themselves up to $300 in the primary and up to $600 overall. And so, that's what the new requirement is. And then it also allows in multi-winner elections, so if there's multiple seats that are open for election that are equivalent, such as, the College of Engineering has 11 seats, and so that would be a multi-winner election. You can, and if you're basically running jointly, you can file jointly as well now. And then finally, it just polished some things up overall. And so, the first edition is on line 114. It adds the definition for a multi-winner election. There's a minor change in section 2 on line 123. It updates the stickers and buttons portion and updates references to various other things in the elections regulations. In section 4, it changes those expense requirements, including the presidential ticket requirements. And then section 5 is the meat of it, where we pulled out a lot of the common requirements for both of the reports that are required, put them in the new section A, then removed those from section B, as well as modifying them to make them more consistent. And then we also made sure that if you have a contractually obligated cost that you will pay after the expense reporting deadline, such as Facebook ads, those will now be allowed as long as you put them on the expense report, because you still have to do that. So I believe that's all the changes. And then we also made sure that, on the campaign action report, you should report campaign actions that you are planning that will occur after the report submission deadline, and a list of your campaign staff in there that you want to register. So I believe that's it. If you have any questions, please ask today or via email or next Senate.
Are there any questions for the author? Intern Phillips.
I have a correction.
Okay.
Line 14, I don't know if you already have this, but it should be 1916, not 1916.
Yes, that is correct.
Any other questions or corrections? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to consider Bill 66? Intern Phillips?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 66. Will the author please come forward? Senator Hines. It's been moved and seconded to allow the author to summarize. Are there any objections? Seeing none, you may summarize.
All right. Hello, Student Senate. To start off with, I do have a few corrections to be made. So lines 105 and 106 in the contract section, those dollar amounts are actually supposed to be $33,250 for both of those. As well as on line 109, that dollar amount is actually supposed to be $85,650. Some of those numbers just didn't get transferred over.
Is the total correct?
Oh, and yes, the total would be adjusted to $32,000 or $327,700.
Wasn't that the old amount?
You're right. $304,000 and 100. My bad.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. All right. So I will probably go through most of these whereas clauses just in a summarized form. In a couple things to keep in mind. So the Privilege Fee Committee voted to pull the fine arts fee from cycle actually at the end of last school year, so right before the summer. And this is also a one-year contract. So just a couple things to keep in mind. If you have questions regarding those, ask me at the end. So one of the first whereas clauses to take note of is that the previous allocation was $327,000 and $700. We decided to make just a few adjustments, so that's increases and decreases of different accounts under here. So some of those that we deemed that were fully utilizing their allocated amounts and still providing benefits to students are Ebony Theater, the International Student Center, and the English Department. So we decided to grant those ones a continuance. Looking at the departments of Architecture, Planning and Design, the Art Department, and Student Organizations, we determined we're underutilizing their budgets to some degree and are granting a decrease. And then looking at McCain Auditorium. So this is kind of one of the bigger ones that we took a look at. So we deemed that ticket discounts to students, their half-price tickets, to be the primary benefit they provide to the general student body. And looking into their actual value usage of that, so they only provide around $60,000 in actual value of discount to students, compared to their individual allocation of $105,000. And so looking at that number, we were just, deemed that we weren't really getting that total benefit amount based on the dollar amount we were allocating to McCain. And so we were looking at giving them a decrease to realign student benefits with the cost of students. And kind of along with this, we recognize that the three departments that are actually getting an increase here. So music department, band, orchestra, choral and opera, and comm studies, theater, and dance. So they're each getting an increase based on the amount that they typically have to pay to utilize McCain Auditorium. So McCain does provide their space free of a general fee for using that space, but they still do charge for the actual operating costs of that space. And the committee determined that was pretty substantial to those three groups, commonly causing them to have to look to other spaces to utilize. Let's see. And so we gave them each an increase of $2,500, but that is specifically earmarked to be used for the cost of using McCain. see, and the next main thing here is looking at the Fine Arts Reserve account. So currently that balance is $128,701. And actually looking at their previous contract, which was from 2 cycles ago, I also served on that committee. That amount was around $80,000, and so in 2 years it's jumped up by about $48,000. And really, there's only one route for that money to be allocated out from, and that is to student orgs at an amount of $10,000 annually. And so while we're looking at this 1-year contract, we figured that it would be wise to try to use some of that money now, while also recommending to next year's committee, who will actually be reviewing on cycle, to look at some ways to more effectively utilize that reserve going down the line. But since we're doing just a 1-year contract here, we are looking to use $30,000 of that reserves to supplement the total allocation that we're doing in this 1-year contract. So that's kind of it for the general whereas clauses, and I'll go over kind of a summary of the cuts and increases. And so architecture, planning, and design, we're looking at a 10% cut of $1,900. The McCain Auditorium will be looking at a 20% cut, which is $21,000. Art department will also be a 20% cut of $6,200. Ebony Theater will be a continuance. Music department, band and orchestra, and choral and opera will both be receiving a $2,500 increase, which is 8.13% increase. English department and International Student Center, both continuance. Comm studies, theater and dance will be a decrease or an increase of $2,500, which is about 3%. And then student orgs is a decrease of pretty big percentage number, 28.5%, but that's $2,000. Also keep in mind that with that cut to student orgs, they still are able to use up to $10,000 each year from the reserve account. So effectively, they have $15,000 that they're able to use. And looking at that, they weren't using their total allocation previously. So I stand for questions.
Are there any questions or corrections for the author? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to consider Bill 67? Senator Snyder. It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 67. Will the author come forward?
That's me.
Intern Phillips. It's been moved and seconded to allow the author to summarize. Are there any objections? Seeing none, you may summarize.
Awesome. Thank you for that. I will probably stick pretty close to whereas clause in this one, since it kind of goes through our thought process with this review. So the Privilege Fee Committee reviewed the request for the Center of Student Involvement during their scheduled 3-year review cycle. CSI provides a variety of valuable resources to Kansas State University students, including support to over 500 student organizations, Week of Welcome, and Safe Ride. CSI in the request, so a little background information, this contract was actually OSAS previously, which included student legal services, which we brought through earlier, and as well as internal auditing service. And so CSI requested that both of those be separated from their contract, as they were previously conglomerated together in OSAS. And so separate contract has already been made and is worked on for student legal services, and the committee will be looking at where to place internal auditing by the end of our term here later in the year. Also, CSI has requested that the monies allocated to Week of Welcome and Safe Ride, so currently they're specifically allocated just to those specific things, so Week of Welcome and Safe Ride. And so they're requesting the ability to utilize those dollars for operations as well, with approval of the Privilege Fee Committee. So currently right now they kind of have a buildup of those dollars that are still like specifically for those subsections of the contract. And so they're looking to potentially utilize those going down the line with the approval of the committee as deemed necessary as by their director. So looking at Safe Ride, And so their current carryover reserve for Week of Welcome is about $80,000, and Safe Ride is about $20,000, respectively. Looking at Safe Ride specifically, we as a committee definitely see the benefit that is providing to students. But as was seen in the presentation Kelly gave here, is currently suffering from some drop in utilization and awareness over the past few years. And as she mentioned, it's kind of a conflicting thing because students are really interested in seeing this program continuing, but we're also seeing that very low utilization and kind of that drop in recent years. But as CSI, in their review to us, they're currently considering revising the Safe Ride platform, as well as considering potentially seeking out a platform that utilizes microtransit services such as Uber and or Lyft as to better utilize that student funding. And that was kind of what we determined as a committee would be in the best interest of students and their dollars, that they move forward with seeking out that microtransit platform. And so effectively, we were looking at a $1,700 cut specifically to the Safe Ride program there to encourage that shift, while also keeping in mind that this doesn't completely rule out their ability to still go forward with a revised Safe Ride plan, since they do have that reserve money still available. And yeah, that is effectively it. It would be a continuance on their operating dollars and a cut, or not really a cut, but a change in verbiage to Week of Welcome and Safe Ride. Any questions?
Any questions for the author? Senator Al Abdullah.
Why do you believe the Math Fortunes platform it is more like it's just good than the things before?
Could you say that?
So why do you believe that the Math Fortunes platform it is just
Yes. So kind of our thought process for the microtransit platform compared to the current Safe Ride bus platform or even a revised bus platform. So I know one of the questions earlier was, what is that cost per ride to effectively make these things function? And so in their presentation to us, the average cost per ride of Safe Ride as is around $29. Their revised platform ideas will be about $15. But the Uber Lyft determined cost per ride is around $10 per student. And so just looking at that specifically, we would see a really good increase in effective utilization of those student dollars, as well as the increased convenience that students would be able to realize by the fact that, they don't have to necessarily figure out the specific bus routes that those buses run. They can be picked up from virtually anywhere. I mean, most of us, at least in our opinion, do utilize Uber or Lyft at some point. They're familiar with that service. They feel more comfortable in utilizing that necessarily compared to, a bus service. And yeah, kind of that combination of that more effective use of student dollars as well as that convenience to students. Yep.
Any further questions? All right, seeing none, is there a motion to consider? I have a correction here. So what's listed as Bill 68 is actually Resolution 48. We'll be considering it last on the agenda, making what's listed Bill 69 is actually Bill 68. Is there a motion to consider Bill 68, fiscal year 20 on-campus allocation or allocations of educational opportunity fund? Bill 68. Okay, Senator Beasley. It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 68. Will the author please come forward? So, are you on EOF?
Yes.
Okay, so we're moving forward with, I said two separate things, sorry. Bill 68, which is on-campus allocation to international justice. You're last. I'm so sorry. Chair Booz. Thank you. Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 68. Will the author come forward? Senator Smith.
I move we allow the author to summarize.
So motion to allow the author to summarize. A second, it's been moved and seconded to allow the author to summarize. Are there any objections? Seeing none, you may summarize.
So this is Bill 68. Okay. Yeah, so the International Justice Mission is a newer organization on campus, but they reached out to us and hope to hold a pop-up thrift shop seeking donations to fight human trafficking. So that's one of their major aims. They requested $250, and we recommended $250 for their event.
Right, are there any questions? Chair Booth.
More of a friendly amendment, hopefully. Can we add on line 18 slash hanger rental, because it wasn't, I believe it wasn't just promotional materials that they were asking the 250 for.
Okay.
Or, you know, add the topic, the other topics.
Is that correct?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
They are renting.
Yeah, that would be you. The funds would be applicable to renting hangars or racks.
Okay. Any further questions or corrections? Caucus Leader Burke.
Well, it's my understanding that they're seeking donations, so it's not like for fundraising per se. It's more of a you're free to donate as much as you like, but not to my knowledge that it's something we see all the time. But we haven't had very many on-campus allocations this semester.
Any further questions? All right, seeing none. Is there a motion to consider is there a motion to consider Bill 69 on-campus allocation to VetMed Theriogenology Club? Senator Meinhardt. It's been moved and seconded to consider Bill 69. Will the author please come forward?
All right. Did we say that word right, Madeline? Theriogenology. So the Theriogenology Club informed us that theriogenology, for those of you that don't know, is the study of the reproductive systems of animals. Is that correct? Yes. Yeah. Very interesting topic and content. But we were pleased with their presentation. They hope to hold a sort of dialogue with Dr. Jason Herrick, who's he works at the Omaha Zoo, and so they just want to bring him here to campus. So they requested $300 for his fees and travel, and we recommended $300 for this event.
All right, are there any questions or corrections for the author? Caucus Leader Spelman.
I am just about to get there.
Further questions? Chair Booth.
Oh, yeah.
Voice as a whole. And so I propose some sort of amendment, a friendly amendment to do that. So I'm not entirely sure what that would be at this time.
Do you see the reference he's seeking out?
I wonder if this was this the corrected version? Yeah, I would be open to changing that grammar.
Friendly amendments to reflect that it's not SGA members, the members of this student organization, correct?
Yes. And also a friendly amendment to replace the periods with semicolons.
Yep.
And to split each sentence onto its own whereas clause.
Yeah.
Oh, and then change D1, the number 1 ORTS on line 15 to efforts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think we've got them all. So we'll have the addition to line 7. This will be informative for the members of the student organization who are interested in. And then the separation of each sentence into their own whereas clause with the semicolons and corrections to the spelling of efforts.
And yeah, line 17 also has an R amendment, so that would be
Could you would you mind addressing when this organization applied?
I don't know the exact date.
Was it 35 days in advance?
I do not believe it was exactly 35 days, but we heard their proposal and we're empathetic with their event.
Okay, never mind. Senator Coger? Is there a second to suspend the rules and special orders bills 68 and 69? It's been moved and seconded to suspend the rules and special order bills 68 and 69. Senator Coger, that's a debatable motion, so you'll have first right to debate.
So basically, I'd like to special order these because both of these organizations came in to on-campus allocation. I believe that their funding that they're requesting is warranted. First off, for the International Justice Mission, they're trying to fundraise to combat sex trafficking, which is a prevalent issue. And then, if I can find the other bill, possibly. Anyways, both of them are good bills with good value to the students that would be adhering to them. So I'll stand for questions.
Are there any questions? Senator Kelly.
Can you explain like the process, I guess like the allocation process, kind of that was alluded to earlier with like 35 days, and why these specific two allocations we need the special order as opposed to the rest of ones that we normally do?
If I may refer my speaking rights to Mr. Tell Whitmer from Holton, Kansas.
Part of it was my fault in managing the Stereogenology Club. They were on I should have had them present earlier, and that was my mistake. But they were a few days short of the deadline. That's usually the time frame we seek out for organizations coming to present to us. That way we get at least like a 3-week period to review and process their request. I did meet with our accountant, and we're fully on board to pass these bills. But the other bill, the International Justice Mission, did meet the deadline, but they're still sort of in the same boat with their event being on December 10th. So we would like to see these bills passed. So just by special ordering it, we get a vote on that now and get them their money in time to see their events come to fruition.
If I could elaborate on the International Justice Mission, they're also a new organization to Kansas State, so this is one of their first times going through the funding process. Follow up.
I mean, from the management standpoint, it
Further questions? Senator Hines. Yes. No, thank you.
Try and come at me.
Further questions? All right, seeing none, I'll be looking for debate in the negative on special ordering these two bills. Is there any debate in the positive? Any debate at all? All right, with that, we'll go ahead and vote. Or sorry, is there any debate at all on the special order? All right, all those in favor of special ordering bills 68 and 69, please raise your right hand. Yeah, proxies to both hands. Those opposed, same sign. All right, the motion to special orders carries. And with that, I'll be seeking debate on Bill 68, so International Justice Mission.
Yeah, again, I think this event is a pretty hot topic in our culture at this time. And as a new organization, we'd really like to see their first event go smoothly.
All right, any questions? Senator Hines.
Can you explain more there exactly what they're seeking money for?
Yeah. So their main request was for promotional expenses, and then they were also looking for racks and hangers for clothing and items. They reached out to several department stores and different avenues to seek those, and they weren't 100% positive if they were going to need to rent those, but we included their full amount just in case.
All right, any further questions? Chair Booth.
Yes.
Granted.
No.
Further questions? Senator Koger.
So, with the funding that we are allocating, if they do not use all of it, will they have to return it?
Yeah, exactly. So they, if you don't use your funding, you have to return it to SGA and the account.
Further questions? Senator Hines.
Does on-campus have, is there anything within the on-campus standards that say that they can or cannot provide the funding?
Not to my knowledge.
Any further questions? Seeing none, is there any debate in the negative? Debate in the positive? Any debate at all? All right, seeing none, we'll move into a roll call vote on Bill 68.
Al Abdullah? Almadani? Beasley? Belina? Betancourt? Bond? Booz? Bowers? Brinty? Burke? Carlson? Carr, Clark, Clements, Coggeshall, Colasico, Cruz, Dowd, Frederick, Gallardo, Gilliland King, Gillespie, Glasscock, Hamlin, Hines, Huffman, Jabin, Jonak, Kelly, Kerperin, Kidd, King, Koger, Kurzweil, Coleman, Lomchek, Lux, Matos, Meinhardt, Oshner, Orzakowski, Peyton, Pelton, Phillips, Prus, Rivera, Rodriguez, all right, Reichert, Seidel, Slichter, Smith, Snyder Ben, Snyder Blaine, Spellman, Wallace, Ward Kelly, Ward Shalin, Watkins, Whitmer, Zimmerman. Okay, we'll go. Thank you. We'll go back up to passes. Beasley? Booz? Burke? Dowd? Hines? Huffman? My bad. Coleman? Prus? All right. Wallace? Okay. Thank you. Okay. 68.
40.
I know. Is it?
What does it pass?
It passes 48 to 1.
Okay, with that, we'll move on to Bill 69, if the author will come forward. You'll have first right to debate.
So on the topic of the Therio bill, I think it's a great opportunity that they're seeking to have Dr. Jason Herrick to come speak. I think that there's a lot of opportunity to learn about not only zoology, but also his animal breeding efforts. So please join me in voting yes.
Are there any questions for the author? Is there any debate? Senator Carlson? Mm-hmm.
It's his expenses.
Chair Booz? Okay. Any further questions, corrections? Any debate in the negative? Okay, Chair Booz. Yep, got it. Further questions or corrections? All right, is there any debate in the negative? Any debate at all? All right, seeing none, we'll proceed to a roll call vote on Bill 69.
Almadani. Al Abdullah. Sorry. Beasley. Belina. Betancourt. Bond. Booz. Bowers. Brenty. Burke. Carlson. Carr. Clark. Clements. Coggeshall. Colasico. Cruz. Dowd. Frederick. Gallardo. Gilliland King. Gillespie. Glasscock. Hamlin. Hines. Huffman. Jabin. Jonak. Kelly. Kerperin. Kidd. King. Koger. Kurzweil. Coleman. Lomshek. Lux. Matos. Meinhardt. Oshner. Orzakowski. Pelton. Peyton. Phillips. Bruce. Rivera. Rodriguez. Reichert. Seidel. Slichter. Smith. Snyder Ben. Snyder Blaine. Spellman. Wallace. Ward Kelly. Ward Shalin. Watkins. Whitmer. Zimmerman. All right.
At the speaker's discretion, they can make anything a major or in the normal introduction section. So with the anticipated special order on these two resolutions, they were pulled into introduction. Chair Booth.
All right, this passes 48-0-0.
All right, with that, is there a motion to consider Resolution 48, which is the EOF allocation? Chair Booth. It's been moved and seconded to consider Resolution 48. Will the author come forward? Senator Coker. It's been moved and seconded to allow the author to summarize. Are there any objections? Seeing none, you may summarize.
Thank you. Okay, well, EOF met 3 times over the past month to discuss 26 proposals. We had $346,000 to work with this year, with $31,000 in the reserve fund. Excuse me. We allocated 21 services their money they wanted, and which was a total of $342,970. That's about all I have.
Are there any questions for the author? All right, seeing none, we'll now move into second open period. Are there any second open period speakers? Intern Coordinator Colburn.
This is unrelated to the intern program or SGA, but I mentioned something about this a few weeks ago. But International Service Teams is a really unique program and opportunity at K-State. It's through the Staley School of Leadership Studies. That application deadline was extended to be December 4th, so that's a Wednesday after we get back from break. It's a really cool program. You study abroad in one of 5 sites. You don't study. It's a service learning experience in one of 5 sites abroad, Camaquã, Paraguay, the Kartong, the Gambia, the Dominican Republic, Neri, Kenya, and then Ocean View, South Africa. You're there for 8 to 10 weeks engaging in service and community learning. And it has a class involved with it in the spring semester. So if you're looking to pick up a few hours and just generally learn about like global issues and service, it's really cool. I did it this past summer. I went to the Gambia for 8 weeks and had a life-changing experience. That site focuses on environmental issues. The other sites generally focus on like children's issues in service, and South Africa focuses on like tons of different things. But any major is welcome and can bring different skills to the table. And it's a really cool summer thing that is really unique to K-State. And if you're still looking for something for the summer, I think it's the best way to spend a summer, especially like if you don't already have an internship or something lined up. It essentially is an internship with a nonprofit abroad. So if you're interested in nonprofit or government work or just like international work, can't recommend it enough. I'm also a student coordinator for it. So if you have any questions, I'm a great go-to person. You can also find stuff online. Sorry, that was long.
Any questions? All right, seeing none, for their second open period, Chair Booth.
So I have two things. One is unrelated to Senate Operations Committee. First, I'll talk about the Educational Technology Survey, which is closing tomorrow at 11:59 p.m. So if you haven't filled it out, please do. And if you really know some people who might want to fill it out or have opinions, especially both directions, honestly, on those. We want to hear from them, and so please pass it on to them. I'll be slicing and dicing the data along with the people I'm working with over Thanksgiving break, and putting it in a resolution that we should present to you by the December Senate. And so if you are interested in working to reduce other educational technologies that are required for classes, and want your name on that resolution, or want to be sent it to review it, please contact me, and I can get you on that list as well. So I'll be doing that over Thanksgiving break in addition to having Thanksgiving. Second is we really want to hear your thoughts, the whole committee does, on elections reform, especially the big topics that you want to see in 2021, because we do have time to change like 2021 right now before the 2020 elections, and we should use it well. And so I think if you have any thoughts at all on where you see elections going in the future, please contact me or another committee member. And then I just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving break. So thank you.
Thanks. Any questions? All right, seeing none, and further second open period speakers. Senator Bowers, does anybody have the shout outs folder?
Hey, Olivia's gone tonight, but she also wanted me to tell you that there are like pumpkin muffins in the back to be like a cute, thankful snack. I don't know. My first shout out before I read these goes to Thomas Smith, Olivia Bruce, and Cheyenne Bruner. They just got elected president of the Greek organizations, which is super cool. So, yeah. Shout out to Senator Spellman. I think her bravery to call us out at the end of Senate will make us a better Senate as a whole. You rock, dude. Senator Mary Kurzweil had a research project get funded. Whoop, whoop. Riley. Jeff, nice tie. Jansen, I move we adjourn. Cameron, you the man. Shout out to Tel for looking fantastic. Thomas Reichert for being a G. Shout out to Maggie for filling in for Nate tonight. Andrew Booz, you make my heart beat faster than your pace on elections reform. Will you go to prom with me? CG. Shout out to Justin Watkins and Jansen Penny for their successful presentation to the Manhattan City Commissioners. That's all.
Right, any further second open period speakers? Right, if not, reference of legislation, Bill 65 will be referred to Senate Operations Committee, 66 and 67 to Privilege Fee Committee, and Resolution 48 to Senate Executive Committee. And with that, we'll move into second roll call.
All right. Al Abdullah, Al Madani, Beasley, Belina, Betancourt, Bond, Booz, Bowers, Brincey, Burke, Carlson, Carr, Clark, Clements, Coggeshall, Colasico, Cruz, Dowd, Frederick, Gallardo, Gilliland King, Gillespie, Glasscock, Hamlin, Hines, Huffman, Jabin, Jonak, Kelly, Kerprin, Kidd, King, Koger, Kurzweil, Coleman, Lomchek, Lux, Matos, Meinhardt, Orzakowski, Oshner, Orzakowski, Pelton, Payton, Phillips, Rivera, Rodriguez, Reichert, Slichter, Smith, Snyder Ben, Snyder Blaine, Spellman, Wallace, Ward Kelly, Ward Shalin, Watkins, Whitmer, Zimmerman. All right. Okay, there are 41 senators present.
All right, with that, I'll now be seeking a motion to adjourn. Senator Koger. First Thursday? December 5th. All right, same time, same place. Second, this meeting is adjourned. That was choppy. It was my fault.